Hi there, friends. I'm Vasco. I'm part of the team behind the first global Scrum Master Summit. If you're a Scrum Master, the Scrum Master Summit is a place to learn, to share, and to meet new friends. We will have lots of live sessions where you can meet and network with other Scrum Masters from all over the globe. So make sure you check it at bit.ly/SM Summit and the numeral 21. That's bit.ly/SMSUMMIT21. We have 7 amazing keynotes or more, as we are still organizing the conference as I record this, and 8 tracks that feature people like you and thought leaders sharing their insights and knowledge to help you become an awesome Scrum Master. So once again, check it out at bit.ly/SM Summit 21. That's all lowercase, all one word, SM Summit and the numeral 21. I'll see you on the virtual conference floor. All right, now on to the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our TGIF Friday and Product Owner episode this week with Serge Huybrechts. Hi, Serge. Welcome back.
Hey, Vasco. Thanks.
So we want to talk about product owners, and we do that because we recognize that as Scrum Masters, we cannot succeed unless the product owners are also great at the work that they do. So we want to help them. And for that, we try to understand what are good and bad patterns in the PO role. So let's start with the bad one so that we end with a good and a positive vibe the week. So share with us, Serge, what might have been potentially the worst product owner anti-pattern you've witnessed?
Maybe very shortly before I start the story, I want to build a little bit on what John Huybrechts said last week, because I don't think there's a thing as a bad product owner in putting that on a person and say you're a bad product owner. I think context and culture and the system people are in very often drive their behavior, and even to some extent their competence and skill set. So I think that if we talk about an anti-pattern, that's more about behavior than just the person being a bad product owner. And I really love that John brought that up last week, because I think it's an important thing to keep repeating.
By the way, I'll put the link to that episode with John Albrecht on the show notes for those of you that want to listen to it. It was a great episode. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but I think the worst anti-pattern I've seen is I worked with a PO that kept throwing new things at the team, like in the middle of the sprint. So like sprint we worked in 2-week sprints, and like in the third day, the product owner would say, "Hey, this has to go in as well." And started looking at this. This was heavily influenced by a very dominant salesperson who she did her job very well because she had a very good contact with the customer, but every question that came from a customer, for her, that was urgent and important and needed to be tackled straight away. And she went with that to the product owner in a very dominant way. And that was just pushed to the team mid-sprint. And the thing that happened is this led to this team hardly getting anything done. It's they wouldn't finish what they took in the sprint. They would hardly finish what was thrown at them during the sprint. So that was quite, that was really an anti-pattern.
It sounds also like a little bit of a spiral, right? Because if I imagine this and playing the movie a little bit forward, you bring stuff in, team is interrupted, they didn't finish what they promised. Maybe they finished some of the things you brought in, but then at the end of the sprint, they get blamed and chastised for not delivering. Then the next sprint, they try harder. Of course, they take on more stuff because there's the stuff from the previous sprint. So now they have even more stuff at the start, and more stuff comes in the middle. It's kind of this never-ending spiral of failure.
Absolutely. They hardly got anything done. They didn't release for months because, like, there was this list of, I think, and I don't exaggerate, there was this list of 55 items they started working on and they never got done because there was always a new fire to extinguish or a new thing to work on. But that's actually what I started showing the product owner, how long items stayed active. We could call it the lead time of an item, of a work item. And how long it was been since they last released, the increased time it took to finish things. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And it's very important for us to pay attention to that spiral because it might lead to the team getting even worse over time. Not because of them, but because of
Mhm.
what's happening around them. So that's a great call out, Serge. All right. So now we turn our attention into what might have been completely different, the mirror image, the best product owner you've ever worked with. Walk us through that, Serge.
Yeah. So when we talk about great product owners, and I've also heard the episodes from your podcast about them, we all very often talk about skills and competences. But I believe that mindset, like the right mindset as a product owner, is equally important, or maybe the most important aspect in a sense. So I actually want to talk about someone I'm currently working with, and I know he listens to the podcast. So Matt, yes, this is about you. When I talked to him first, when I got to know him, he really gave me the impression that he understood what the product owner role was about, and he acknowledged that he had a journey, a learning path ahead of him, and he knew what he needed to address. Basically, it's very curious, asked a lot of questions. It's very open to new learning and stuff to learn with. So that's the mindset thing I want to talk about. It's the eagerness that he shows to learn new stuff. I think that's great. And then next to it, if we talk about skills, he knows the environment he's moving around in. He's really close to his customers. He actually really actively seeks their feedback and then incorporates that to bring that to the team. He understands how to bring it to the team as well. Like he very passionately can talk about it and make it understandable. He also understands how to look at the value attribute of the work, like how valuable will this be for the business or the customers. And that again, together with his learning mindset, makes him a really, really good product owner.
Yeah, maybe one of the things that I take away from this description is this. So first, you as you talked about the mindset, I think that's critical, but also this perhaps self-awareness, but especially the environment awareness. So customer, of course, but also team. So understanding how to deal with customers and get the information that is needed to, create a great product, but also knowing how to bring that to the team, perhaps even knowing how to engage the team in sharing ideas and generating new ideas on how to help the customer. I don't know if that's exactly what you had in mind, but that's what came to my mind.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. But linking to that, Vasco, I think we always say that a Scrum Master is a servant leader or a leader who serves. But I think that's also true for the product owner. The product owner is the product leader. I've heard the term the product CEO, and I like that very much. And the product owner serves the team and the stakeholders from the product perspective. So being being able to engage the team and making them engage with the product, I think is a really important aspect of being a good product owner.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if that's what you had in mind, but for me, the image brings up this kind of picture of a shared product ownership where the product owner brings a certain kind of mindset, skills, knowledge, experience, and then the team brings another type of skill set and mindset and knowledge and experience.
Yeah, it's a good point. I hadn't looked at it that way, but yeah, absolutely. I think it's the product owner literally says it's the accountability and the ownership, but we're in this together. I mean, you in the beginning said that the Scrum Master can't be successful without a product owner, and also not without developers. And I think that triangle of Scrum Master, product owner, developers is a dynamic also around the product that needs to be there. And everybody brings in their own weight and their own expertise in a certain way.
Absolutely. And this was definitely an inspiring description of a great product owner, Serge. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome, Vasco.
So, Serge, we're getting close to the end, but before we do go, share with us where can we find out more about you and the work that you're doing?
So yeah, I think the best way to find out what I'm doing is LinkedIn. I'm quite active there. I try to share as much as I can from interesting people I learn about. So I think that's mainly the best way to get to know me a little bit better.
Absolutely. We'll put the link on the show notes so that our listeners can definitely connect with you and ask questions and, of course, give you feedback on this week of interviews. Serge, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for your generosity with your time and your knowledge.
The pleasure was all mine, Vasco. Thanks for having me.
One more week of the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast is over, but there's a lot more we have to share. We have developed our own membership site where you find a community of active and engaged Scrum Masters. In this site, you get access to exclusive content and get to interact with us, your podcast hosts, as well as the best Scrum Masters in the world. Join us at scrummastertoolbox.com/podcast and keep this podcast free of advertising. See you next week for one more week full of Scrum Master tips and tricks. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.